Maybe we should check the disc. I actually can't believe. Oh my God. So I was going into my local GameStop to pick up a copy of Far Cry 6 because it was $10 and I had just finished playing the trial. I thought it was pretty cool. But when I got in the store, I noticed in a little corner, they had something pretty interesting. A full retro section. Yeah, they had a couple Nintendo 64 games, a 2DS that seemed significantly overpriced for what it is, a selection of Xbox 360s and PS3s, and a nice little shelf full of games of various generations. But they also had some accessories, which I was pretty interested to see. And when I got to looking at these on the shelf, I thought that they looked a little interesting. So let's go over to the desk and take a look at what we got. Oh, the stand is such a piece of fuck. But yeah, man, it was pretty interesting to check that little section out. Apparently they only started stocking stuff about a month ago. They had Dreamcast controllers and stuff, but what caught my eye were Xbox controllers. Now, if you're familiar with Xbox controllers, I want you to tell me what might be the #1 problem with these controllers right here. But let's go ahead and open this controller up and see what we got with the Duke. It was so big they had to put it in a bag double the size of this one. Yep, this was the big lingering beast that was originally released with the Xbox. Love this thing. What I don't love is that they wrap this controller so tight that you can see it bending right here. And a lot of people used to wrap their controllers up like this. That's probably not new to anybody, but the problem with doing that with these Xbox controllers is when you start bending them right here, I don't know how well this camera's picking it up, they start fraying at the edges. And when I unravel it here, yeah, you can tell that this has been bent like that for a long while, which really is not good. I really do not have a good light on this, do I? Sorry about the setup, guys. I'm really doing this like all off of the cuff right now. Otherwise, though, the controller looks to be in decent shape. I mean, there's a little scuffing around the gigantic ass emblem right here. There's a lot of dust. There's a lot of dust in the crevices. In the analog sticks, there's a lot of dust, especially in the memory card port here. And there's, that's gummy. Oh, are you seeing that? Oh, fuck. Yeah, there's a pretty significant layer of gunk right up in here. When I say gunk, it's literally like a gunky, tarry substance. It could be from cigarettes. I'm not 100% on that. Point is, they haven't cleaned it. You can see dirt up here in the ridges. Not looking great. We'll put that one right here for now. And let's check out our Xbox Controller S, the redesign that they came up with when they realized the Japanese market has pretty tiny hands. And this is a much better controller all around. You got a nice D-pad, nice buttons, easy to reach, and better analog sticks in my opinion. I like this concave design on both of them. Is where this one's kind of like a nub. Oh my God. Special announcement.
Like and subscribe for more trash.
So there is a huge split right here, not that you need me to point it out, that's lifting the controller off of the edge. Motherfucker! I want you guys to really see what this is. The video really does not do this justice, but there is clearly a gap along this line here from where this was smashed against a table or something. The plastic on the edge here is literally flaking off. I didn't get it on video, but a piece of the controller came off onto my carpet. Can you see that? Can you see that little bit of flex? I can't get over the fact that it literally looks like this was smashed against a table, and they sold it to me like this, out of the store. This didn't come to me online through shipping. I know a lot of people do those GameStop retro online buys. This came to me like this from the store. Now, for me personally, this isn't exactly the end of the world. I'm not necessarily going for high quality collector pieces here. I'm looking for controllers I can use, and maybe I can unscrew it and get it to set properly. I don't know. We'll test it out and make sure it's still usable. That might be a little bit of an issue, but we'll get into that. As far as inspection goes, yeah, there's dirt all inside the analog sticks, well, dust rather, and inside the memory card port. This thing hasn't been cleaned. That being said, it doesn't have the same bend gate problem that the other controller has that looks like this one was left out, so that's good at least. But the one problem with the cables that I am having is that it's missing a little something. So the neat thing about these Xbox controllers is that they had a breakaway cable. So if you were running past the console or you had kids that were running around and they walked in front of the console while it was being played, they wouldn't rip the controller out and then pull the whole console with it, which is something I did to my babysitter's PS2 a few times. And this was also useful because you could buy controller extensions, so if the cord wasn't long enough, you could make a longer cord. But both of these controllers are missing the connection piece that plugs into the console. So you take the end of the controller here, plug it in there like that, and you're good to go. Except for the fact that both of my controllers didn't come with this. Now, I asked the GameStop manager about this. He told me that they had only had this stock in for a month or a few months, and they didn't actually look at any of this themselves. They were just told to put this out and inventory it. So what happened was they were probably shipped all this stuff, they threw it on the shelf, and that was the end of it. Apparently, I was the first person to ask about the Xbox controllers because I'm the only weirdo that would be walking into an Xbox in 2024 and walking out with Xbox controllers. These things are like $5 on eBay, so I guess I'll pick up a couple, and the prices on this stuff is actually pretty reasonable, so again, it's not the end of the world. But if you think you're gonna walk into a GameStop to get retro stuff and you're gonna get a better experience than what you would get buying them offline, probably not. Literally came out the store, missing pieces, and damaged. So that's awesome. But we also picked up some games. I guess that's not a retro game yet. I feel really bad saying that this is a retro game. That makes me feel old, but yeah, this is probably the worst way to play Far Cry 4, but they do have PS3 games. And I'm not too worried about this running because I've never in the history of buying Blu-rays had one that don't work. There's some weird spots on the disc though. I'm not really sure what that's about. Kind of like water spots or something. But we also picked up Morrowind for the Xbox because I thought that was a really interesting thing to see, and it was $10. Not bad. Oh, and it comes with a little map here. So you got a map and the fuck is this? Another map? I've never played Morrowind, not familiar with it. But I guess Morrowind Game of the Year edition came with 2 maps. And yeah, 20 years later and coming out of a GameStop, still comes with the maps, which is pretty interesting. And the Morrowind Prophecies Game of the Year edition, only $19.99 for PC. That's interesting to see that it still came with this. And if you want to do your Bethesda registration, here you go. Again, still with the disc. Even going through a GameStop couldn't stop these from coming with the game. If you see a Morrowind map on my wall, it's because I played through Morrowind on the Xbox. Maybe we should check the disc. Yeah, so the disc actually looks pretty good. I mean, there's some small scratches, and there's also this pattern on the disc. It kind of looks like it was sitting on a cloth or something. Maybe that was from a disc resurfacer. I'm not sure. But again, doesn't look bad. I'm sure this is gonna run, but we'll test all this stuff out. Alright, so after a lengthy mandatory install to my hard drive, we're into Far Cry 4 here, and I know what you're thinking, that fat PS3 that you thought you fixed must be overheating again. And that's what I thought too, but after cross-referencing my gameplay here with somebody else's, this looks pretty par for the course. The frame rate is very bad. Like, I'm talking sub 20 FPS. This is just in the cutscene here, and I can tell that it's struggling to run this because when it cuts to a section where it doesn't have the open landscape in the background, it runs a little bit smoother. But man, I actually can't believe how low this frame rate is right now. This game came out, I believe, a year after GTA 5, and you can tell, man, this PS3 was just tired. And that also translates over into the gameplay. There's a good bit of pop-in, and again, that frame rate is just low, and it's struggling. I genuinely thought something was wrong with my PS3, and it felt pretty uncomfortable to play. And it's funny because if you look at comparison videos, you can tell that they definitely dialed back the PlayStation 3 versions and the 360 versions of this game. There's a lot less dynamic elements in the background, foliage isn't moving around as much, and this might be something that I explore further, but man, it was feeling pretty rough. To GameStop's credit though, the game does work, so that's a plus for the PS3 game. But let's go into the real test. We're checking out Morrowind here on the Xbox, and little did I realize that we had Skyrim back in 2004 because holy shit, this game plays exactly like Skyrim in some instances. I've never been the biggest Bethesda fan or Elder Scrolls fan, but I didn't realize when people said that they've been using this engine for a long time, they were saying it verbatim. So while it's pretty easy to write this game off as a dated old game, it's actually kind of impressive that it's running a game with this much much going on inside of it this long ago. My first experience with Skyrim was actually on the Switch, but when I was playing that, I was really impressed with the fact that you had all of these permanent physical objects in the level. I thought it was really cool that you could walk up to something like a basket of bread, you could take the individual loaves of bread out, then you could take the basket out. But here we were 20 years ago doing this in Morrowind on the original Xbox. That's pretty cool. So yeah, looks like we have no issue with the games here, and I'm also playing this with the Duke controller, and the Duke controller seems to be working just fine. No problems here. I decided to switch gears over to one of the games in my personal collection. It's one of my personal Xbox favorites, Reckless, and I'm using the Xbox controller S. And once again, even though it had that big crack that looks like they slammed the controller against a table or something, it's working just fine. And one thing I noticed about the controller is that the vibration feels really good. I have another S controller, Slim controller, whatever you want to call it, and the vibration motors on that actually feel kind of weird. It kind of feels like they're dying in a way, so it's kind of nice to see that this one's working pretty good. So yeah, no problems with the controllers here. The games that I got worked, so no complaints on that end. My only complaint is that we don't have a way to emulate Reckless the Yakuza missions yet, because damn, I am tired of seeing this game in 240p. Well, it's pretty interesting to see my local rinky-dink GameStop in the middle of nowhere stocking some Xbox controllers, but GameStop, you got some work to do, man. I think that selling retro devices comes with a little bit of a hassle, like quality control, but I think it's what GameStop's gonna have to do to stay in business. Honestly, as we get deeper into these newer console generations and it seems like physical media is being less of a focus and digital media is definitely what the publishers and console manufacturers wanna do, I think that this retro stuff is gonna be the move for GameStop, but not if they're gonna do it like this. If you're wanting to pick up some retro stuff from your local GameStop, if you can find it, it seems to be pretty reasonably priced, but as we've shown, you definitely wanna do some research and take an extra look at it while you're at the store. Let me know what you guys think of GameStop carrying retro stuff in the comments, and if you want to see more of this type of stuff, let me know and we'll do some more experimenting. Thanks for sticking around, guys. It's been T, or Josh, aka T. See you later.